everybody, welcome to my second video in my 4-part series on working with crystal grids. So in video 1 we looked at working with transpersonal crystal healing grids, which is approaching the grid without any specific intention in mind and working in a more self-reflective way. And in this video number 2 we're going to be looking at creating crystal grids for a specific intention. So we approach this really differently, and the outcome is obviously going to be a different one as well. Now, when we're doing any intention work, whether it be meditation, manifestation, creating a crystal grid for a specific intention, the very first step is to have clarity around your intention. The universe, it delivers on us when we can be very clear about what we want. So try and be as specific as possible and hold this intention as clearly as possible when you're getting to work. For example, if your goal is to attract love to your life, be specific. Hold that intention of, I want to attract a person who is this. I want to feel this way, rather than just being a little bit abstract and saying, I want to attract a love to my life. Let's be super specific so the universe knows exactly what to deliver for you. When working with intentions, it's also helpful to write it down. So this might even take a few drafts to get right. So see if you can condense what it is that you're trying to manifest or what your intention is into one power-packed statement, one almost like a mission statement, but it's an intention statement that really grasps the idea and the clarity of what it is that you want and voices it or communicates it in such a clear way that there's no room for misinterpretation. Great, so you've got your clear intention set. Now, it's important to understand the difference between the conscious and the subconscious mind when we're doing any work around intentions and manifestation. I touched on this a little bit in video 1, and I'm going to continue touching on it in each of the videos in this series because it's a very important point and it's a foundational point. So if we don't have that level of understanding between the conscious and the subconscious or the unconscious mind, then it's difficult to understand why we do these things and how the manifestation works. So the conscious mind is the mind that is aware and conscious and responsible for our day-to-day thought process. It expresses itself, or let's say the language of the conscious mind is words, numbers, statistics, reason, logic, dates, things, lists, to-do lists, organization. This is all language of the conscious mind. And the conscious mind actually only absorbs a very small amount of stimulation that goes on around us. So we're exposed to so many sounds, colors, noises, people all around us all the time. And the conscious mind only hones in on a very tiny percentage of that, probably less than 1%, and processes that. And it tends to hone in on that which is important to us or we need the information for. Whereas the subconscious mind is working in the background all the time. And unlike the conscious mind, it absorbs everything that's around us. We're just not aware of it. So this is where hypnotherapy is actually very powerful because it speaks to the conscious mind, and the conscious mind can recall things, events, and situations and colors that the conscious mind actually can't draw on. So the conscious mind absorbs everything that goes on around us, and it's kind of like our quiet processing center, and it quietly works behind the conscious mind. It's very quiet. The conscious mind is very loud, and it works behind the conscious mind to process everything that we see, feel, hear, all around us all the time. And it's all stored away there. And the way that the subconscious mind expresses this and its language is through creativity, inspiration, ideas, dreams, symbols, music. It's much more feeling based and it's much more expressive, and this is what we think dreams are about. It's the subconscious mind processing everything that it has encountered in a lifetime and possibly many lifetimes in our ancestors' lifetimes. It's if we go into the collective unconscious, but let's just stick with our personal unconscious or subconscious for now. So when we're manifesting something, and we're putting into the physical world an intention. We've got the intention, we've held it in our mind's eye, we've written it down. Now we need to actually manifest that on the physical plane and get it out of the mind, out of the body, into a more tangible and real and physical sense. And this is where we can work with the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is amazing for expressing our innermost desires and feelings, because we can draw it out of ourselves through the creative process, and we can give physical form to our inner world through the subconscious mind and through the language of the subconscious mind. The way we're going to do that with crystals is we're going to choose crystals intuitively rather than consciously and analytically. We're going to choose crystals intuitively that resonate with us with that intention held in our mind's eye, and our subconscious is going to guide us to the correct crystals. Now that you've got your very clear intention, we need to select some crystals that are going to be best to bring forward those qualities and work with you on an energetic level to help manifest that intention into the physical plane. So, for example, if you are trying to attract love in your life, we all know that rose quartz is the stone of love, and that's wonderful. But perhaps the reason why your relationships aren't working, or you are unable to find that lover, that soulmate that you've been seeking, is actually to do with something else that's going on. Perhaps it's a lack of self-confidence. Perhaps it's a lack of self-esteem and being able to put yourself out there and trust yourself, in which case rose quartz wouldn't necessarily be the best crystal for you and for this grid that we're going to make. You might find yourself drawn to some yellow crystals, especially something like citrine, and it doesn't really serve your grid or your manifestation or intention if you question yourself in the way where you're analyzing what you've chosen and thinking, oh, but I want to attract love. Rose quartz is good for love. Maybe I should include some rose quartz. We want to work intuitively and go with what we need here to attract what we want. So if you've intuitively selected something like citrine, you have to trust that that's what you need to help you work through something inside yourself that will help you manifest and achieve the desire or the outcome that you want. So get your collection of crystals. Even if you've only got a few crystals, that's fine. You can incorporate other things in your grid like feathers, leaves, flowers, or anything else that's natural and speaks to you. But if you've got a large collection of crystals, get all your crystals, lay them all out in front of you, and start picking intuitively the crystals that you want to work with, and just letting their energy sit with you, trusting that this is what you need for your intention. Hold your intention in your mind's eye as you're selecting these crystals, and that will help guide you to pick the right stones. If you absolutely feel like you have to include some specific crystals because you do know about the healing properties and you just really want to include it in there, then please include it in there as well. Just because a crystal is known for a specific thing doesn't mean I'm saying don't use it. I'm just saying open your mind to include other crystals as well as the crystals that you know are good for the outcome that you want, because you may also need the benefit of these other crystals too. So some great crystals to have on hand might include rose quartz, a good variety of heart chakra stones, so pinks and greens. Keeping in mind yellow stones are for the solar plexus, so for that confidence and self-esteem and abundance. If your intention is really in your spiritual development, then you might be attracted to purple, blue, white, clear stones. It's okay, go with what you trust. And when we create this grid, it's a little different to how we created the grid in video 1, which was really an unconscious creation. So this grid does combine more conscious intent as we're placing the crystals. So when you're placing your crystals on your crystal grid for your intention, keep in mind things like what it is that you want. What is your goal? Is there some kind of energy in that? Is there some kind of flow? What part of you is represented in it? And how can you place the crystals to represent that part of you? In video 4, I'm going to show you a crystal grid that I created for a project that I was working on that I can share with you now, which is my first book. And this is the crystal grid that I created and which helped me secure my first publishing contract. So I will share that with you in video 4, but the placement of the stones that I selected was very intentional for what it was that I wanted to achieve. So I encourage you to do that too. For example, if you're working with the heart and you're really wanting to open up your heart, the heart is the center of your being. So perhaps you want to place a stone right in the middle of your grid to represent your heart. And then what flows on from there? What else do you want to attract? What are the steps? Who is the person that you want to attract? Perhaps select a stone to represent that person. Think about using crystal points. Where's my little bag? A little bag of citrine and amethyst points. Clear quartz points are great as well. Crystal points give you a way of directing energy through the grid. So for example, if one of your goals is to be more outspoken or become a very confident public speaker, then you might have a grid that represents you and your throat and have points pointing out of this stone that represents your throat chakra, because that's representative of expression. That's what you want to manifest. So do you see what I'm saying about, as you're placing the crystals on the grid, be mindful and use the symbology, draw on the symbology of what it is exactly that you want to manifest and attract, and use the crystals to create symbology and almost like a language for that. So when we have ideas and thoughts, we can write them down in a language. Use the crystals as a language, like they're telling a story, of what it is, where you are now and where you're going. And before we finish up today, I'm going to leave you with a few images of some beautiful grids that I found online, just to give you a little bit of inspiration. And feel free to post some of your own grids or stories of your own gridding experience in the comments. I'd love to see and hear what your experience is. So take some time, have a look at the grids that I'm going to show you, get some inspiration, and yeah, let's start manifesting those goals and dreams, guys. You can definitely do it, and crystals can be a wonderful way of externalizing those dreams and helping you channel the energy, channel all of that desire into a tangible product, getting you what you want in the end. I'll see you for video 3, where we look at making a sigil. So a little bit off course with the crystals, but it all comes back to the crystals in the end. See you then.